This is one of those silent films. There'll be no
We
words
could keep
in
that
this one.
going.
Yeah, no,
Oh,
no.
I thought it would be funny.
Well, that's what you get for thinking.
Oh.
Yep. Somebody's already liked this. Hey, Lynn Martin. Anyway, this is a neat topic. Kind of intimidating for me to do this, or us to do this on this topic, because I
You're
don't know,
intimidated.
a little bit. You think about it. I mean,
Fancy.
you think about it. I mean, the title of it's "Leadership is Complicated." How many people in your friends list, or people that you,
Hey, Brent.
what's up, Brent? People that you've worked with, or worked for, or have worked for you, or mentors, or pastors, or whatever, that you talk about leadership. Who do you think about? Man,
Ooh, like who's a mentor? That's a good question. Oh my gosh. Write that down because we could do a video just on mentors.
well, we're going to touch on it a little bit today, but I mean,
It's
whatever.
a good topic though.
So, Brooke and I have, this is a neat topic. I mean, for me, I have 18 years with where I work. Everybody knows, so I just say it. I know it's just one of those things.
It is, yeah, it's a thing.
So, people that are on this, hi, Dad. People that are watching this video, I mean, they can rank clear up to colonel, to light colonel, to major, to captain, to staff lieutenant. There's a lot of people on here that will watch this video in passing or that we're friends with. And, I've learned what to do and what not to do from these people, And I would think that they would appreciate me saying that because of a mistake that they made or something good that they done. So leadership is complicated.
It is complicated.
I'm just saying, I learn something new every day. And I learn from my supervisors and I learn from my subordinates and I learn from my peers. So I wrote down a couple of things that I've heard over the years that just kind of want you to think about this for a second. Number one, please chime in anytime you like.
Oh, thanks.
Before you can be a good leader, you must first learn how to follow. That's good stuff. Before you can lead, you've got to know your job and know their job to help them and guide and direct them, right? You're not saying much today.
Where's your phone?
It's upstairs.
Oh, I was gonna Google something.
Okay. I already mentioned what I've learned to do, what not to do. One of those things is you're only as good as your weakest link. You ever heard that? Mm-hmm. So, this is something to think about. Brent's got me. Okay.
Oh, Brent recently did a video on leadership.
Yeah?
Right, Brent?
Yeah? I must have missed that one.
Yeah.
I'll have to go back and talk about that one or look at that one.
Yeah, it was great.
What's up, Jeff?
Yeah.
So, I've heard this, and this may have been sarcastic or somebody just, saying something, but it's always something to think about when you hear little sayings like this. My job as a leader is to prepare you for my spot. You guys, I'm not talking about this cop work. I'm not talking about cop work. I'm talking about the spiritual world. I'm talking about, work ethic. I'm talking about your family. My son. Talking about my job is to prepare you for my spot. So that means when he gets old enough to be a dad or a husband.
Hey, Jeff.
So
Did you already say hi, Jeff? I was behind.
I did.
Sorry.
It's all right. Now this I know was sarcastic because I remember the person that told me this, and I haven't talked to him for years, but I would like to catch up with him. Your job is to make me look good, and my job is to keep you out of the grease. So basically what he's saying is I'm to make him look good, and he's to keep me out of trouble. All right?
Who said that?
Lytle. Long time ago.
Oh, yeah,
This is
that's
showing my age. 1991.
wow.
Yeah. Yeah, back in the old Pike County days. So I have a neat story. This is anybody that wears my uniform will have heard this in leadership school, and it is really simple, and it's really has a good point, but it's very important because of the message it sends. And bear with me, be patient, because I want to turn it over to Brooke here in a minute. She's got something that she wants to talk about as far as
What else is new?
learning to be a leader. It's not.
Can I tell them what you just did?
No, don't tell me I took my socks off.
He's just taking his socks off. We're here talking on a video on Facebook Live, and Homeboy's stripping his socks.
I'm about to start sweating up here because this is a good story.
You getting fired up?
Fired up! Fired up!
He's getting fired up,
But
y'all.
this is a neat story and it has a good message. And
It's gonna be good.
the older people and my mentors or my supervisors want me to say this right because it means a lot to them too. So I'm going to try to share it and make it sound good.
Make it sound good, player.
I'll make it sound good. All right. So, kind of imagine the old days. This is back in like biblical times when there's no, it's just old times like shepherds and sheep and back in, rural areas. There's no really.
Everything's rural in
Thank
biblical
you.
times.
All right, thank you. Anyway.
Well, maybe not. Sorry. I just got to thinking about Lot, his poor wife, the city.
All right, we're not going to preach yet. So there's this drifter, and this drifter's drifting, making his way from settlement to settlement, and he's walking through pastures and fields and woodlines, and paying very close attention to what he comes up on. So he comes to the top of this hill, and he looks down over the valley, and he sees a group of sheep, a flock of sheep, and the sheep are all shoulder to shoulder, and they're bunched up in this little V section, I guess, and they're all just kind of just being pushed around and kind of forced them to go where they're going, and they're not comfortable, and they're just being forced to do what they need to do. At the back of the herd, you see the shepherd, and the shepherd's got this thinking the cat or the cane, and he's smacking them on the heels if they get out of line. He's got his guard dogs on either side of the pack, and if one gets straight off, the guard dogs are going to nip at his leg or bite on his heel and get him back in line. And it's just, they're just moving from point A to point B, and they're so structured and organized, and it's just uncomfortable. It just makes you almost not even want to watch it or be around it. And that's what the drifter's seeing. He's like, man, that's crazy. So he just kind of shook his head and walked on. And the next day, he comes to the top of the hills, kind of close to middle of the morning, and he looked over this next top of this hill, and he's seen this big pasture, and these sheep are all over the place, and they're frolicking around, they're jumping, and they're playing, and just having a great old time. You got some playing over here, you got some laying with their mom and dad over here, you got some that are eating over here and grazing. And it's just like, man, that looks like a fun place to be. I mean, they're having a blast. And the drifter looks up there on top of the hill, and he sees the shepherd. And the shepherd is sitting down, got his little camp set up, and he's got both of his dogs right there with him. And he's got a pot of coffee on, or beans, or whatever you make back in the day. And he is just having a good old time with his dogs and his dogs and the sheep. Well, the drifter said, I gotta see what this guy's doing. Looks like he's got some food to heat it up. I'm gonna go give me a snack and kind of chat with this guy for a little bit. So he goes up to the shepherd, and they introduce themselves. They talk about life and how things are going and what they've did in the past couple months. And the drifter just kind of watching the shepherd. And every once in a while, that shepherd, while he was talking to the drifter, would grab one of those sheep by the neck and roll him over on his back.
Did you say sheeps?
Sheeps,
just for the record.
lambs.
I just want to.
It's one of those woolly, furry things that the shepherd takes care of. So it'll be a sheep. He grabs one of the sheep by the neck and rolls him over on his back, and he scratches his belly, and he gets the matted hair off his ear, and he checks for ticks. And he scratches his forehead and smacks him on the butt, and he goes on about his way. And sheep just jumping around, having a blast. And the drifter's kind of puzzled with that. Pretty soon, that shepherd grabs another one by the neck, brings him over there, scratches his belly real good, checks his ears for ticks, and takes that matted hair off and pats him on the head and gets him on his way. He does that the whole time the drifter's talking to him. And the drifter said, that's pretty cool. He's taking good care of those guys. He's making sure they're good to go and making sure they're happy. So they have their dinner and they talk, and the drifter says, listen, I gotta go set up camp. I gotta get out of here, but I greatly appreciate your time, and you taught me a lot today. Shepherd said, okay, you're welcome. Be safe, part your ways. So the drifter kind of walked off and got to the top of the next hill, and they decided to kind of turn around and get a picture of this. And the shepherd, about the time that the drifter turned around, the shepherd stood up and he whistled. All the sheep raised their heads and thought, what's he want? Mm-hmm. And the shepherd took his coffee, dumped it on the fire, patted his leg. The dog was just kind of swarmed right or close to him. And when he started to move that way, the sheep followed him, frolicking, eating grass, having a good time. So my question is, what kind of leader do you want to be? Do you want to be the leader that wants to swing that cane and lead by force and force people to do what they want to do all the time and be uncomfortable and not happy and not really want to be with you at all? Or do you want to be that guy that whistles and they perk their heads up and they want to follow you? I'd rather be the latter. It's good stuff. I love that story.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
And I'm talking about, and I don't think I need to explain this overly, but when you're reaching over and grabbing them by the neck, you're talking to them, and when you're scratching them on the belly, you're making sure they're good to go. You're making sure they're happy. When you're checking for ticks, you're making sure there's nothing wrong. There's nothing that's going to hurt them. When you get the matted hair off, that means kind of scraping the dust off and making sure they're good to go. And whatever you're talking about, whatever applies, taking good care of them. That's the leader I want to be. Lynn Martin, good leaders encourage others to be good leaders in a positive way. Praise, guidance, and encouragement. Very good. Bidding will continue until morale improves. Brent,
Right,
unfortunately,
though.
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
I mean, so many people lead that way. And it's not leading at all. It's being a boss. Right? Where you're beating somebody down and they're, just forcing them to do things. They're going to burn out. They're going to lose respect for you. They're definitely not going to choose you to follow. Because instinctually, we all kind of look for an example, right? Instinctually, we all look for a leader. And though I believe that some people are born with leadership, just a natural ability to lead, what do we still need to do?
You got to learn how.
You still got to learn how. So the good news is leadership is a learnable skill. And even though somebody has a natural ability to lead, doesn't mean they still don't need guidance. Doesn't mean they still don't need to learn and build on that natural ability, build skill on top of that. So that's what, we titled this, Leadership is Complicated.
It really is.
Because as soon as you think you got something down pat, you got a new lesson in leadership, right? And you opened up with, what did you say? You have notes. You must first learn to follow. To be a good leader, you must first learn to follow. So those among us that want to be first have to what?
We got to follow.
We got to put ourselves last. So a good
serve.
Leader, takes care of their, I hate to use the word sheep, but just for his story,
Right.
because, we're not sheep. Well, I think we're missing some comments. I'm going to go back here. That was a joke, but it's so true. Yeah, Brent, no, we know. Yeah, it's funny, but there are people that try to lead that way. I look so close in the camera right now. Let's see. Exactly. The first thing a great leader should empower is their team's welfare. Yep, for sure.
Jeff Elder, if you question your leadership, look behind you and see if anyone is following.
So true.
Yes,
And Jeff, to take that one step further, when you do see people following you, who are they? Are they people that you really want?
Right.
Are they good integrity, good motivated people? Who are you attracting to follow you, if anyone? Right?
Right.
It's gonna take a look in the mirror, because as soon as you look behind you and you see who's with you, who's tagging along, that's going to be a really good reflection of your leadership skills, right? Your level of leadership.
Yeah, Brooke was just talking about it could be a learned skill. Tony D'Annunzio, such a great story and so empowering and so very true. Thanks, Tony. I appreciate
Tony.
that. That makes me feel good, especially coming from you. But she talks about, it has to be something learned. I mean, you could be born with a certain amount of leadership skills, but it could be a learned art as well. Man, I learn something new every day.
Right.
Every day I learn something new. I learn something from my shift guys. I learned something from the second shift guys.
There's great books.
I learned stuff. Well, it's just in the everyday process is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
The book learning, please forgive me for my redneck term. The book learning is definitely important. I'm just saying, whatever. But I'm just saying my guys and the second shift guys and the afternoon guys and the afternoon sergeant and the midnight sergeant and the secretary and the lieutenant and the MRW The guys that show up for contractor stuff, I learn something new every day, and it's very cool. You can't. The minute, I don't care who's watching me, I don't care what rank you are, I don't care who you represent, I don't care what church you're over, I don't care whatever. The minute you think you know everything about leadership, better check yourself.
Yes. So true.
Just saying.
Yeah,
Just saying.
so true.
But this is, I mean, again, this is kind of an intimidating topic. So if you have any more about it, I may be getting a little too aggressive here.
Well, I think that it's important for us to remember we should have a mentor and we should be mentoring someone else. So I think that that's underrated. I also think it's sometimes not easy for people to find a mentor.
That's true.
Yeah. So
especially atypical people.
like the type A personalities, you mean?
Right.
So I think it is important though that we find some. Well, I know it is. I mean, it's the Bible tells us so. Let me see. I'm missing some things here.
Yeah, just make expand Barbara's there. This reminds me of a cartoon I saw years ago. Two different types of manager styles. Shows a man walking in a dark, mean-looking cloud and wind trying to blow his coat off, which made the man hold on tighter. And the other pic shows a bright sun shining bright, then making the man warm, and he voluntarily takes off his coat.
Right, exactly.
Cool.
I mean, it's very similar. Jeff said the moment you stop learning is the moment you stop leading. Ooh, love it,
Good
Jeff.
stuff, Jeff. Very
Exactly. I was going to say something else too, but those excellent thoughts. Oh, I'm reading a book right now, and it talks about a leader that he's in a leadership role, and he's burning himself out, and he's burning the candle from both ends, as they say, and taking calls constantly, and he's just running on fumes, right? And so it's kind of trickling down into his team and or his employees, or however you want to say it. And so everybody's just kind of like morale's low, and they just talk about some mistakes he's making. And then they have another example where this leader has set up like healthy boundaries and has learned those skills, and reaches out to her team all the time, and just the differences in, basically, to just sum this up, the point is that we have to take care of ourselves. We have to continue to learn, and we can't just go around telling, like in your story, smacking the sheep, telling them what to do all the time, because it's just, you're not going to get anywhere with that kind of leadership style, right? If you even want to call it a leadership style.
It's leading with an iron fist. Mm-hmm. This is what it is.
Yeah, so it's all the same about the two different kinds of leaders that are, like I said, you got to take care of yourself first too. Yep. Don't get burnt out, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's important too. And then you're teaching your team, you're teaching your employees or whoever, subordinates or whatever we're talking about, the people you're leading, you're teaching them to have respect for themselves as well, have respect for their personal time.
Barbara, that's excellent. It's important for leaders to ask their team for input.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Holy crap. Let me throw a name at you, see if you knew who I'm talking about. Sam Walton. I love using this example. Yes, I used to work for Walmart, smiley face, smock and all. It's a very neat place to work. The neat thing about Walmart is you have to learn about some of the history that they had. And Sam Walton, who brought up, organized, and started Walmart and Walgreens and Sam's Club and all this good stuff. He made his fortune in making sure that the prices were fair for everybody. But he found himself in his office one day. He's like, "What in the world am I doing up here?" And he took his tie off and he put that smock on and he went down and he talked to the people in the gardening center. He talked to the people in electronics. He talked to the people in the groceries. He talked to people in women's clothing and kids' toys and all that good stuff. And he took the training that they take and he worked alongside with them. What better way for the boss to know about what's going on in his business if he's in the grass with him, right?
It's like that show Undercover Boss. Who's
Yes,
watched that?
yes.
Who's watched that show? It's always intriguing.
And it was never ever his goal to catch somebody doing something wrong or to get somebody in trouble or to tell them the right or wrong way to do something. He wanted to do what they were doing so he could make them happier in their job and
Right.
want to work there. Because if you're wanting to be there and want to do a good job, how awesome is your company going to be?
So what's happened to Walmart now?
Don't use that as an example. Anyway, it was about the employees and it was about the point of it.
Mm-hmm.
So good stuff. Good stuff. What else you got?
What else you got?
There are books, there are classes, there are college classes, there are experiences, internships, all kind of stuff you can do to learn how to become a good leader. But I guess my point of view, I mean, I work for a guy right now, and he knows who I'm talking about when he watches this. That is an outstanding guy, and I've learned to like him and a lot of stuff that he does. He still doesn't do everything right, but neither do I. But it's that balance that you have to keep between administrative and your people, and it's all about your people. It's all about your people, no matter what. And he'll tell you the same thing. It's about how you take care of your people and how you treat your people and how you do things in hard spots. So that's what it's all about. It's about your people. Just remember that. And that doesn't just mean work. It means your kids. It means your wife. It means your church. It means any kind of club you're in. If you're a disc golfer.
Disc golf.
You never know. Anyway, I'm rattling old enough. What else you got? I'm
You
done.
what now?
I've rambled on enough.
Oh.
I appreciate you guys paying attention. I know the work's probably gonna have a couple more things, but don't forget to jump
Am
on
I?
YouTube. Yeah, you probably will because you're pretty smart. Jump on YouTube and like the Troy and Brooke Show, Brooke and Troy Show. Almost hit the title wrong. That almost get me in trouble. Brooke and Troy Show on YouTube. Like it. Subscribe to it.
Subscribe, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, we're posting our videos on there.
Yep.
Yeah, I feel like this topic can be broken down into so
Oh,
many
yeah.
different, more specific topics. Like we were talking about mentorship. Like we could truly do a video on what that should look like. Or if you're mentoring someone, right? Maybe, did you write that down?
I wrote
We
mentor
can-
down.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so we can probably do a video on that. That would be outstanding. And what that looks like. But yeah, we could totally break this down into lots of different things.
Yep.
But ultimately, I stand by what we titled it, which is leadership is complicated. And people should still be learning and learning and learning and learning. Even if they have a natural ability to lead. That's the difference. But if somebody says, I'm not a leader, they're wrong, right? On some level, we all lead. Who was it that was telling me, for the life of me, I cannot remember who told
Please
me
stop
this?
hitting your leg. You're scaring me.
Somebody recently told me, and if you're watching, please shout out because I cannot remember who said this to me. I think it was a girl. Like, that's all I can remember. But somebody just said, we were talking about leadership, and they said that even if you think you're not a leader, you are, because you're leading yourself, right? You're taking initiative to take care of yourself and leading in your choices in your life and everything. So all of us lead. So if you have been told at some point, or you've told yourself at some point that you're not a leader, it's a lie. And like we talked about, I believe that some people are born with that natural ability to lead because we're all born with skills and abilities, and maybe not skills, that's not the right word, but natural talents and abilities, right? But we all have to, even if somebody is born like super athletic, right? Do they not practice? Do they still not learn from other people? Right, of course they do. Jeff Foose, a great leader, was once a great follower. Yeah, exactly, Jeff.
Thanks, Krista. Smile, Troy. The frown makes you look old.
Ooh.
She's allowed to say that.
Oh, okay. As long as you say so.
She's all good.
But yeah, exactly. So, whoever wants to be first needs to put themselves last. And leadership is actually about serving. Who knew? Right? And there's such a misconception there.
Yep.
And not everywhere. I see a lot of great leaders, especially more recently. I just see amazing leaders. But there is a significant misconception in some workplaces and things where it's like, well, If I have a certain title, then I'm the boss. Yeah, you're the boss, but you ain't a leader, right?
Right. Jeff Elder, good leaders are not afraid to allow others to shine brighter than they do.
Ooh,
That's good
ooh,
stuff.
ooh.
That's
That's
good stuff.
so good, Jeff, because what are we talking about there? Ego.
Yep.
Ego will get you in trouble. Now, we are all, didn't we talk about this recently, like last week's video? We're all naturally selfish. Was that last week's video? I feel like we just talked about this, but we're born selfish, right? And so we have to fight that. And I think, yeah, we did, because we were talking about you being more of a giver and naturally just like a gift that you
Right.
have of giving, right? And so
Encouragement. Encouragement is what we were talking about.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, very, very, very true. Zig Ziglar said the best way to go ahead is to help others get ahead. Oh, to get ahead is to help others get ahead. Yeah, exactly, Barb.
That's a good point.
Yeah. Oh, I love these points. Keep them coming, because...
Thanks, Jeff.
Oh,
Appreciate
thanks,
that.
Jeff. Yeah.
You're welcome, Krista.
Sorry, I missed a couple comments there, guys. Trying to keep up.
Oh, you're caught up.
Yeah, but that's really good, man.
Yep.
I love what Jeff said. Good leaders are not afraid to allow others to shine brighter than they do, because I just think it tends to go against our instinct. And we have to remember that, and we have to learn that. Some people probably, like, you know, it comes more naturally too. But just to be transparent, that is something I have to think about. Like, okay, stop thinking about my goals today. Stop thinking about my to-do list today. Who haven't I reached out to in a while to see how they're doing, you know, and see what I can do for them today, and then think and put that on my schedule, right?
Molly. Holy stinking moly. What an excellent point. Now you're going to get me started again. I was trying to cut this video off because we're being so long, but man,
Read it out loud for everyone.
a great leader is also a good communicator.
Communication.
To lead somebody,
It's key.
just like Brooke, she leads me every day, right? She's my boss. She's my leader. What I'm saying is, it's a relationship. Anybody that you work with, or you work for, or that works for you, it's a relationship. Relationships do not work if you don't communicate. Molly, a great leader is also a good communicator. If I need my subordinate or my peer to do something, or if they need me to do something, I won't know that. I can't read minds. I know this looks like a crystal ball, but it really isn't. All right, I gotta
How many
communicate.
times have you used that?
That was the first time.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, usually I say it's a solar panel to a sex machine, but that really doesn't apply. Anyway, it's a good...
What just happened?
I know.
That's
Great
not
leader.
that kind of video.
It's a good communicator. You must communicate. You have to talk. And you know what? To be a good communicator... Molly, me and you're on the same page. I was just getting ready to say that. You also have to be an effective listener. You have to listen to what is being said. You have to use what is being told to you and fight back and forth, or discuss, or make things work. Jeff Foose, following God is the best way I've found to be humbled in any type of leadership position.
Ooh.
Jeff, that's, dude, if we get
It
started on
keeps
that,
us in line,
I'll
right?
be talking all day
That's
about
what I'm
that.
saying. Like, we could branch off of this topic in so many different directions.
Yes, Krista, you're right. A good leader has compassion. I'm going to kind of caution you on that word specifically. Yes, you must have compassion, but you got to be careful with that, not to have too much.
Ooh.
Just saying. I tell you what.
See,
anybody,
leadership is complicated.
Anybody on this page or on this book or that's in friends with me, if they're listening to me say this,
On this book?
and on this Facebook, that's what
That
I'm
was
talking about.
funny. I'm going to call it the book.
Anyway, how many times have I been in trouble for being too nice? More often than doing something wrong. I've been in trouble for being too nice rather than doing something wrong. Holy crap, I've been at 8 different posts and 3
Talk
different
about writing
departments.
a book.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
I'm just saying.
I'm just kidding.
We gotta
It's
stop
true,
this.
though.
We gotta stop this. We gotta get out of here.
Okay,
I'm just saying,
okay.
well, what time is it?
9:03.
Yeah, we've been on here for a half hour.
Relax.
35 minutes. These guys want to go to bed.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes, but that is a excellent point about compassion. So, yeah, I mean, it's like a middle ground, right?
But
There's
it's
a
necessary.
balance there with
Yes,
that.
it's necessary, most definitely.
Somebody
But
who
careful.
doesn't have any compassion is gonna get tripped up,
Yep.
right?
But
And
somebody that has too much is going to get tripped up too.
transparent time,
Yeah. Go ahead.
worst person for compassion. I don't hear you arguing with that.
I'm not saying a word.
Me, bad about it. Now, that said, it's just something that doesn't come naturally to me. I know how bad that sounds. I'm aware of how bad that sounds. But I've recognized that because I've learned that about myself. And so that means I have learned when to be more compassionate. It's a learned, this is what I'm saying, that leadership is a skill that is learnable. Like, all of us are going to have strong points. All of us are going to have weak points. Compassion is something that doesn't come naturally to me. Again, I know how bad that sounds. Bear with me. But I have learned to be compassionate. But it does help me to have a better balance. So, like what you're talking about with being too compassionate. So now that person needs to learn to know when to let somebody stand on their own 2 feet and that kind of thing, right? Like, it goes both ways is what I'm saying.
It does. Jeff Foose, I think the best part of following Jesus is that it's always an adventure to try to get better at following the ultimate leader. That's excellent, Jeff. Excellent, excellent. Jeff, good eye. Good leaders know when to keep their mouth shut. Good job, Troy.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just saying, you're right. It's a cause and effect of listening, too. Thank you. I appreciate that. But that was important.
And I think that Jeff Foose has a really good point. Just in looking at how Jesus, like, he gave us so many good examples on leadership. Like, so many. Mm-hmm. So when we talk about, like, learning, like reading books, like I mentioned, there's a lot of good leadership books. Yeah, start there. Because he gave us tons of great leadership tips. Good leaders also know when to speak up. Ooh, yes. See the balance, guys?
It's like communication, Molly. Nice.
Yeah, I mean, so Jeff Elder, good leaders know when to keep their mouth shut. And then Molly, good leaders also know when to speak up.
Yep.
Complicated.
I tell you, Molly, I've been one to speak up more here, more of recent times, and it feels good. You know, it does.
But see, that's the balance we're talking about, right?
Right.
So we have to strike a balance with certain things that we might be a little too heavy one way or the other, right?
Yep. And when you speak up, you need to do it with respect. You need to do it with a little bit of a plan, not do it on just a whim or on your feelings or emotions. You need to, you know.
Yeah, I mean, we could even talk about confidence here. That'd be a good video to talk about confidence, people having confidence, and we could talk on this topic. You writing it down?
That's a good one.
Cauliflower?
Shut up.
What did it say?
Confidence.
Oh. Cauliflower.
Hey, it's Ice Cream 30.
Ice cream?
Just saying.
We out. No, I'm just kidding. We will span off from this topic because it's a fun topic. It's a relevant topic. And yeah, I mean, we could go down so many, like I've got so many things, like, but it sends us down kind of a rabbit hole onto another topic. So branching off from leadership, but
guys, thanks for tuning in. Much appreciated
yeah,
the interaction
thanks for tuning
here.
in.
Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for tuning in.
I'm out. I'm going after ice cream. She'll close down the scene. But
Why
I'm not
do you-
good at goodbyes.
What a goofball. Oh my gosh.
Sam
Hey
Smith
guys,
said
we're
it best.
diffusing stress away.
Yes.
Look, right there.
That's why I didn't have any stress. Thank you for showing up, Elder. Appreciate you. Now Ann pops in. Great.
Hey, thanks, Jeff. He knows I try to be consistent. Him and I talked about that.
Cool. Love you back, Jeff Foose. Hey, Ice Cream 30. You gonna fix it or you want me to? Watch this. Want to see me get in trouble? Ready for this? It's your job. I'm gonna go get ice cream. See ya.
Thanks for tuning in, guys. I have some work that needs done right now. Gotta go take care of a little chore. Hey, Ann. Hey, guys, so thanks for tuning in. We'll probably span off this topic a little bit, just some other things regarding leadership, because it's relevant. So if you are in a position where you want to build on those skills, tell us your thoughts. Tell us what you've learned. Tell us the books that you've read or good mentors or good teachers out there that you know of, and share with people, you know, the different things that you've gathered. I know, like, another thing, Pun, we could talk about is, like, different personalities. And you have to learn about different personalities.
Don't tell them about all your personalities.
Oh my gosh. I don't have multiple personalities disorder. But that's just another thing that we could talk about with this. So we could just keep going and going. So thanks for tuning in. We'll stop it here, and we will pick this back up next week with something probably similar, branching off of this topic. So let us know your thoughts in the meantime. Let us know what's important to you as far as, like, what's a good quality in a leader. Answer that. That's a good one.
The years.
Hey, Molly told you to run. It's a good idea. Good call, Molly. All right, guys, thanks again for tuning in, and have a wonderful night and a wonderful week, and we'll be back next Wednesday. See you guys.